Okay, the problem with bodyweight. As with almost any training style, usually the problem doesn't lie in the style itself, it's more like in the practitioners, how it's done, what is like the general thing in bodyweight training, that how people do it. It's really good in the start. It takes care of most of the broader lines in your, for example, upper body. You do squats or something, you take care of your legs. Great to take care of all the major muscle groups that you may have in your body. But after that, once you kind of start to realize that how really simple it is, because most people never move on from that style of training. They just continue doing those one-dimensional movements forever and ever and ever. And this is like the bodyweight training. Just do pull-ups, just do dips, just do this sort of same old stuff all over again. And once you want to get something new, maybe some novelty, maybe training with a little more sophistication, some details in your body, you just don't find the tools from the bodyweight in general, like from bodyweight training. The biggest thing is the limiting mindset that people have, because usually people only think that doing with the heavy resistance, like pull-ups, exercises, that's the only thing that's useful for your body. That's the only way you can develop your body. So you don't even see any possibilities for a lower amount of resistance to be trained yourself. Let's take an example for the shoulder. Bodyweight, you can't choose basically the angles the way you want regarding training to your shoulder. You can't choose much at all. You can't never properly isolate the joint movement. You can't do any 3D motions with this pull-up and such stuff. And if you do with the bodyweight, because this kind of training is very good, do using just like so, waving around with doing this kind of shoulder raises, that's very good. But most people don't see this as a possibility to be trained. Like I can make my shoulders really burn by doing just bodyweight shoulder raises and such. But people don't see this as a possibility. So what you're doing is you're limiting severely your upper body development, complete development, your balance in your upper body. If you only try to do these big movements with the body weights, push-ups and such, even with the rings, it's one of the things is it not only limits the articulations, the freedom in the articulation which you can train, but it also sets so much resistance that you have no chance of adjusting your form when you're doing these exercises. Like pull-up, an awesome exercise, but one of the worst things about it is that it's really hard, and most people have no chance of controlling themselves when they do it. Bodyweight is super good for leg training. You can really train your legs to develop them to a high degree with just bodyweight training. Usually there's a concept that you actually need a lot of weights to develop the legs. That's false. That's very much false. You will develop much more balanced, stronger, athletic legs if you have a lot of bodyweight training with you as well there. But again, in calisthenics circles, it's not very common. If you have big legs, that's just more like a hindrance. That's a hindrance to your training. The bigger your legs are, the more well developed they are, the worse it is for your skill development in calisthenics. So that's also one thing as well. Bodyweight training offers so many different possibilities, incredible possibilities to train your body, to develop your body, especially for the your legs and different hip articulation stuff. When we go to the upper body, there's more limits, like I said there. Because it's always so fixed the way you can train, and people don't lack the belief then to train their shoulders without any weights, basically just doing those bodyweight shoulder stuff. Don't have the understanding how to make it effective. So the general idea is that like a closed chain movements are the best for developing this thing. That is simply not enough for stability at all. One of the things is actually the stability training. Weights are super useful regarding training stability in your lower body and the shoulders. Incredibly useful. Very hard to do some of these things with just your body weight. So biggest problem, not the style itself really, but the way it's done in general, how it's brought out. Every single calisthenics guy who brings it out, bodyweight training, only focuses on big things, big skills, doesn't make you balanced, doesn't make you optimally strong at all. It doesn't matter what style you use, if you're training and your approach to training is garbage, that's what it's going to produce. No matter how much somebody says bodyweight is the best or the weight is the best, it doesn't matter. That's false information. It's really about the practitioner, how you do it and what's your approach. So think about that. And that's all for this time. See you in the next video. Take care everyone.